So here with Addy at Superbooth 2017 from Animal Factory, guitar pedals and some synth stuff coming in the future, made in India, which is unique.
Yeah, I think it's kind of different, I guess, because you don't have too many synth makers in India. There's a couple of other companies that I know about who are beginning to do stuff now as well.
Is it very much an emerging scene, do you think, in DIY electronics and pedals?
Yeah, we have a huge maker scene in India, so there's a lot of 3D printing and there's a lot of Arduino programming, robot programming. So I'm thinking music tech is kind of the next step forward.
Okay.
But it's still nascent. I mean, the fact that we have a great electronic music scene in India. We have a really good electronic music scene that's emerging now. We're kind of disconnecting ourselves from Western contexts. So it's not like cover bands like we used to have back in the day. People covering Pearl Jam, Metallica.
Wedding bands and things like this.
That sort of thing. We actually have electronic music producers who very much have their own voice and are doing very much their own thing. And I'm kind of excited to be doing this in a place like that.
I mean, especially around, say, Goa, there's been an electronic scene for a long time, but I wasn't so aware of Indian artists and builders and.
Well, I mean, Goa trance scene the trance scene in Goa needs no introduction, but I think what's interesting is like you have places like Delhi who are producing really good, top-notch hardware techno producers. Or if you have things like Bangalore has some of the most cutting-edge experimental electronic music. Bombay is huge about Bombay is really big on bass music.
Okay.
Bombay loves future bass. They love drum and bass. They love jungle. And
it's great that all these scenes are sort of merging and emerging. So we'll start with the guitar pedals. Can we take a listen to some of the sounds?
Sure. I'm gonna turn up the. I think you can probably hear I'm listening drums from a Volca sample right now.
Yeah, okay.
Very simple, basic techno beat. I'm gonna show you the pedals one by one. There's a whole bunch of these in London. They're very much loved by Flood and Alan Moulder. This is an overdrive, so it can go from fairly subtle to dirtier, and you can add different textural clipping to it as well.
Very much from warm to mega squared off.
Yeah, it doesn't go to mega squared off, and like it never gets into that
too fuzzy
distortion fuzz space. But it has this thing about it really nicely cleans up your low end.
Okay.
It's nice on kicks sometimes if you want to get a bit of punch back.
Well, it doesn't sound too overbearing on that drum loop.
It's very musical. I know for a fact that Alan Moulder uses it on vocals in his studio.
Wow, okay.
St. Vincent has one of these. Ed Harcourt uses this all the time on his board.
Wow.
So there's a bunch of like people who I'm like, wow, you guys are using this?
Yeah.
This is a very different beast. This is my first pedal, one of the first set of etched pedals that came out commercially. It's called the Chemical Burn, and it sounds like the name. So it's got a very scooped, very raw, very aggressive fuzz sound. I really like the old Smashing Pumpkin sounds.
Yeah.
So, like the old Billy Corgan stuff. But it doesn't lose the low end either, which is why this is my pedal for bass. It's always on for bass fuzz.
Well, that's something we should point out. When we were coming over and things we'd seen online prior to the event, it's aimed at synths, drums, bass. It's not necessarily just the guitar.
It's not just for one thing. Yeah, I mean, like this is something that because the low end is so tight, you can actually use it on a variety of instruments without losing it. I know somebody who records contact mics and runs them through this thing and puts it on air conditioners and stuff.
Because you can tell sometimes when a pedal's voiced through a guitar and you run a drum machine through, you lose a lot of the clarity, and especially the low end, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, like I've turned the low end all the way up here and it still manages to keep up pretty well. So that's that one. this is by far my favorite pedal for drum machines because it's just this one's just mental. I mean, it's just. So if it was just for these three knobs, it would be a fairly standard fuzz pedal with a weird filter. That's the fuzz control. This is the volume control. This is the filter. But then there's these two knobs. Start adding a sub-octave and a gate.
Nice.
And you can just like sweep out of that and get a self-oscillator over here. And now you have like this, you have a gated self-oscillation that's happening at the same time. And you can get that to bend a little bit. I love using this on kicks on a separate channel.
Staying in the low end is huge.
And it adds a bit of, it adds like lower harmonic artifacts at the same time. So there's that. There's, this one's new. It's up for pre-order starting May. So this is the first prototype. It's called the God Eater because it eats gods. I really want to do a pedal based on the story of Saturn devouring his son, and this is what it sounds like. So this is a bass fuzz. That sounds great with if you like stoner rock or doom.
It's got a lot of that sort of clarity in the upper mids.
Yeah.
It's hitting a bit harder on that snare in the clap.
And but at the same time, it's got a huge low end. So you don't lose any of the bass on this one. Because the one thing I really hate about a lot of bass fuzzes is just how much of the bass they cut.
Yeah, and you have to end up blending the drive back in to get any low end.
And get the low end back in. This one doesn't do that. This one keeps, there was somebody here yesterday who was looking at it, like, where's the subwoofer? I said, there is none.
Oh wow.
This is just the way it sounds. And you can also like roll it back if you want just a bit of a grunt. So that's why I call this one a fuzz torsion.
I like that when it's kind of mixed in with a dry and it's just this underlying weight.
You can do that as well. If you flip the switch over here, you can go between the fuzz signal and the fully dirty signal and the clean signal, basically. So there's two ways to operate it.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of clipping knobs as well. So this will set the levels up.
So is this sort of diode-based clipping or?
It's actually pretty interesting that you say that because you have diodes on this side. So this is maximum compression and minimum volume, but you've got on the other side you can actually see it. The LEDs start lighting up with the way it clips, with the incoming velocity. And the interesting thing here is that the LEDs are clipping different frequency bands and to different levels, basically.
Yeah. So it's a sort of uneven clip across the whole spectrum.
There's a lot of harmonics and a lot of very really textural fuzz and distortion happening out here. So that's it's got complexity. It's you can chew through it, you know.
Chewy fuzz.
Yeah. I like things that have a bit of a body, that have a bit of a non-linear.
It's nice when they respond in different frequency areas and you put a drum machine in or a really wide-ranging synth and you hear how it's reacting differently.
Yeah, they clip, the different frequencies clip at different levels, basically.
Yeah.
That's where...
running a filtered source beforehand works really well. As you open the filter in, it's all changing.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that on keys as well, I think. I don't know if I have enough battery over here, but if I do, then you can probably just plug in that as well.
Filthy electro key action.
So I'm gonna add a couple of bass notes over there.
Kind of growls differently.
I'm gonna keep it as an acidy filter. So yeah, it doesn't. I think what I try to do is I try not to get rid of too many frequencies in the things that I build, because I like to have a certain granularity to everything.
Well, if they're there and you've got EQ or the sound guy at a gig or it's going into a DAW, you can take them out anyway. You can't put them back in again.
Exactly. You don't want to lose information. Losing information is...
You can control that at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, a couple more pedals. Are these further variations on fuzz and distortion?
Yeah, I mean, like, so far everything I've done over here is been gain based, and I'm kind of happy to say that I love this, but I'm gonna be leaving it behind for more interesting pedals, like in time-based pedals, modulation pedals, stuff like that, stuff that's based off my synthesizers, put into pedal format. This is actually a really interesting pedal. It's a very unique pedal, but there's unfortunately one like it. And I would really have to demonstrate it on guitar because it does some pretty unique things. So this is kind of like the basic circuit between this one and this one are the same, but if you disconnect that, it needs to see a low impedance, high impedance input, because then you can use this as an oscillator as well.
Okay.
Or if you have a CV input, you can use it as a CV sequencer. This has a CV input, so you can actually get it to start self-oscillating. And I don't have a converter right now to
That's okay.
demonstrate that to you. I'd have to grab that. And this is the last one. Again, this is the same as this one. I just used two of them together, so I could demonstrate how they sound when they're stacked up, or how some effects sound with. There's still a lot of clarity, even when you start stacking up this distortion with another one. Not so much with this guy, but this is the last one. I'm going to be re-releasing this one with a lot of improvements. The blue channel is a full range boost. It's very this pedal has a lot of headroom, so you can actually get a nice tubey crunch through this. The two switches will be replaced with knobs, okay, for a 2-band EQ, and the clipping will be controlled by knob as well. Okay. That's the full range side. This is the more trebly side of it. This one has a bit more bite, and of course then there's all this possibility to stack them up together. You can always stack them up together, and
so is it the boost before? Is the boost stage first in the chain or second in the chain?
The red channel is first in the chain, okay, but the newer version is going to be with soft switches and microcontrollers, so that you can
run a boost into the distortion or vice versa.
You can hold this down and it'll flip the modes.
Okay.
Or you do an either or. So this could be
alternate and switch between.
It becomes more of a performance tool, so you don't have to tap dance between the two main stages. Yeah. Or you can set them up completely differently and drive your amp differently, stuff like that, you know?
Great. So we should have a quick look to end on this synth system that you're working on. Just quickly talk us through the idea of the synth as well.
Okay, so I mean, I come from India, and the thing is, I always wanted to do stuff that allowed people to explore sound in different ways and to create access to sounds. And if I go around India telling people, hey, you need to spend this much money on buying a rack and that much on a power, like it's $200 or euros for case.
It's not instantly accessible.
It's not. It's really expensive, and then when you put that together, it's you're looking at about a spend of $1,000 to $2,000 at the very minimum to have a functioning modular system. What I want to do is like think of ways that I can actually cut costs, but also integrate everything that you need into one handy desktop module. And that's what I do.
That's the sort of next stage. Brilliant. Well, thanks for showing us the pedals and introducing the synth stuff.
This, what you're looking at here, is this is the first prototype. This is what the production model is going to look like. So it's going to be like a little more, like this is definitely cool, acrylic, transparent, with all the insides showing. But just to make it more usable, just to make it a little more sturdy. that's what it's going to look like roughly. I got to work a little bit on the graphic design, but otherwise I'm kind of happy with it right now.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for running us through the scene in India as well and all the products.
Cheers.
Thanks guys.